So my name is Mike Powell, and I went to the University of Virginia where I studied English in an interdisciplinary program called Modern Studies. And I am currently a freelance writer whose area of focus, I would say, is culture and pop culture and entertainment and stuff like that. So, what were my main interests leaving high school? In high school, I was really heavily involved in playing classical music and always cared about the arts generally, music and painting and performance and things like that. And I was also interested in literature. In high school, I had somehow, I'm not sure how it happened, but had edited the yearbook a couple of times. So I had had some writing and editing experience, and I liked that as well. I How did I develop these interests? Let me see. Let me think about that. Some of it was self-motivated. Um, I remember having the experience, for example, in high school of taking out a book on the painter Jean Dubuffet from our high school library, and the librarian asking me if I had gotten it at that library. And I said, yeah, why? And she said, well, because we just don't have a record of the book, or nobody had taken it out before. So I thought, okay, well, maybe this is something that I'm interested in that not all other people are interested in, and maybe I should sort of pay attention to that. So I had a little bit of that, just like reading books that I was interested in, paying attention. And some of the other stuff, like, I sort of joke about the yearbook thing, but I had an English teacher who I liked, and she also coincidentally taught journalism, which in our high school was the funnel into the yearbook program, and so that's how I started doing that. And okay, so maybe I should move on quickly to college. So I would say it was a combination of self-motivation and just a little bit of luck and having a couple of good teachers, as people do. But when I got to college, I, like a lot of English majors, sort of fell into it because I wasn't really sure what else to study. I didn't really have a plan, and I had a couple of different ideas, but settled on English. And in my college, I had the benefit of being able to apply for this thing that was an interdisciplinary program. So while I received a degree in English, I essentially designed my own major. And I took a lot of classes in art history and in political theory and history, and some philosophy classes. And though I could not tell you exactly what it was I had convinced the school I was going to study, that's what ended up happening. I took classes in all these different departments. I was really lucky to have a few really good professors in college, but one in particular who just fascinated me as a person, and my interests, as a result, sort of quickly aligned with his. And a lot of what I ended up studying was stuff that, in a way, let my sort of academic mentor was interested in too. So how did these interests change or remain the same throughout my college experience? I did not go into college knowing about, I should put it this way, what I ended up studying in college and focusing on mostly was not stuff I even knew existed when I went to college, which is maybe a helpful thing for people who know going into college. That was my experience, at least. I sort of was always following interests, but I did not have a clear path, which is, I suppose, a good and a bad thing. But in the end, what I spent most of my time with, when I was 17 and going off to college, I didn't even know it was there. So I just learned, I guess, by staying open to some extent. Did I seek people out or do community? There was no community work per se, anything like that. I did do a little bit of writing for one of the college newspapers, though I didn't really study journalism in college or anything like that. And the way it developed into a career was sort of circuitous. I mean, like I said, I do write a lot about the arts, broadly speaking, and they've just sort of always been an interest of mine. When I left college, even though I didn't have a lot of experience in journalism, and had mostly just done academic writing, I started just essentially pitching some articles to local newspapers about things that I was interested in, and from there I was able to cobble together a career. Did some work in nonprofit arts publications just because I cared about them, and things like that. Did do some volunteering, sort of free work after college, to the extent that I was able to, and it turned into paying work, which I think is always worth letting people know, especially if they're kind of doing something that's not where your path isn't as clear. They were not internships per se, but I was working on publications that had no budget, that were just run by a few people who were my age, and then suddenly by making them good, we got some money and started getting paid for just doing things that I liked.
Cool.
So, and it's just sort of grown from there. I'll sort of keep it short, but that's the gist of it.
Awesome. Thank you, Mike.
Yeah.